I love the Royal Rumble. It's one of the reasons why probably we all fell in love with wrestling, because there's so much potential for every number, but particularly for number 30, a number infamous with surprise returns and amazing moments. And they say a picture paints 1,000 words. This is the personification of fans at the 2017 Royal Rumble. Entrant number 29 has come out. We are on the countdown for entrant number 30, and you've seen this face along with many, many other faces around that time. This face is an excited fan thinking, who's going to be number 30? It can't be Roman Reigns, because he's already been in a title match tonight. So, who could it be? Oh my God, are we finally going to get Samoa Joe? Is Finn Balor going to finally, after teasing it 20 bloody times in NXT, make that step up to the main roster? Entrant number 30... It was Roman Reigns, wasn't it? He came back out. I mean, you can make an argument that all of this factored in to him eventually becoming one of the greatest heels in pro wrestling, the tribal chief, etc., because he was just forced down our throats as a babyface. And even this, they didn't even try and sell as, well, he's done some political manoeuvring backstage. They were like, bloody brilliant! Double Roman Reigns at the Royal Rumble. But this face personifies everyone who's watching that 2017 Royal Rumble. Yes, we were all ecstatic when he didn't actually win it, because we'd take anyone other than Roman Reigns at that moment. But I think, just like this poor lad's face personifies, it made a lot of people go, you know what, I'm done with this. It drove us all absolutely insane.
2022's Royal Rumble, brackets general. Karma took too long to catch up with Vince McMahon when he resigned in disgrace in 2022, because I wish it got there before this pay-per-view, basically. There was only one thing left in WWE, and I speak as a die-hard Fedhead, that kept you kind of on the hook, which was WrestleMania, Royal Rumble to WrestleMania season, and a gimmick match that had proven itself pretty much indestructible after those devastating years that are talked about elsewhere on this video, the likes of 2015, the likes of 2014, the likes of Roman Reigns doing what Brock Lesnar did here and losing a title match on the undercard, only to just come back and win the Rumble because Vince, and maybe the wrestler himself in this case, said so. It was just a very, very sad night. Since 2018, there's been 2 Royal Rumbles on the card, and this is one of those rare cases in wrestling where that more is always more philosophy is a good thing. You get to the end of one Rumble and there's another one to come. If one underperforms, the other one tends to over-deliver, and the night sort of levels itself out. Where there's been occasions where there's been 2 good ones. This was the one night where both were absolutely dreadful, and everything was bad about them both as well. If you look at the women's match, Sasha Banks entered at number 1, went on something of an Iron Woman run, and then was just thrown out, and it didn't matter remotely. Melina was number 2 in that match for a big nostalgia pop, and was immediately thrown out. There's a heartbreaking moment in the middle of the women's one where the Riot Squad, I'm not like some sort of Riot Squad truther, right? But clearly some people in that building were, because Sarah Logan made a one-night return, Liv Morgan was in the ring at the same time, and the 2 of them just shared a glimpse, a look across the ring, and the fans, just loyal and desperate to enjoy something about recent lore, went, oh, they used to be friends, and now they're back in the ring together. And as that was being registered, the novelty cameo Bella Twins turned up and eliminated the pair of them. Like, the fans weren't given a split second to enjoy it. There were no winners because fans just weren't invested in much of the regular rank and file. But the one thing they didn't want, the one thing in that match they did not want, was a very divisive Ronda Rousey to return, phone it in and win. And guess what happened?
Ryan Satin liked it.
Yeah, well, indeed. Then we go to the then we go to the men's match, where again what you had was anti-pop after anti-pop after anti-pop in the match, surgically engineered to draw a pop every 2 minutes by the magic of counting. No, nobody knew theme songs anymore, so you were waiting for the name to appear on the electronic ring skirt, and that was felt even by the ticket buying public. Is this guy again? Well, I don't know. I don't watch Raw anymore. I need a name to pop up, otherwise who is it? And you've got just name after name generating an anemic response after an anemic response. And then all of a sudden, when you just think, well, you know, a bit like 2017, I guess there might be number 30. I guess there might be a hope, a chance. No, there's a Brock Lesnar. One person was allowed to have Brock take his licks. Who was that? Shane McMahon. A man that performed so poorly on the night, he was fired by his own deranged father in the week afterwards. Everything was finished. Everything was finished. Like, AEW was firing all cylinders, and thank God for it, because that company was done, dusted, dead. R.I.P. The game saved the day. Vince resigned in disgrace, and I never want to speak about the show again.
My pick for the Royal Rumble moment that left my jaw on the floor in the worst possible way isn't actually necessarily apart from a match. It's kind of a thing on the proximity of it, I will explain. Royal Rumble 2014 is the final CM Punk Royal Rumble appearance, before he left the company and went on to file a civil lawsuit against Dr. Aman, who was working in WWE at the time, for the growth on his back, which was later identified as a staph infection, which WWE denied, and they did so in the most hilarious way when they uploaded a 3-minute video to their public YouTube channel of slow-mo footage and shots of CM Punk's butt. And that's what I associate Royal Rumble 2014 with, for better or worse. This weird evidence video that they produced and set to public so everyone saw it, and the best part was they then changed it to unlisted. And if you don't know how YouTube works, what that means is essentially if you have the link, you can still see the video, so you can share that link with people who need to see something potentially early or whatever. Instead of deleting the video and re-uploading it private or putting it on another channel, they just unlisted it, and I think it was there for several years. So Royal Rumble 2014, famous for Rey Mysterio being booed at number 30 because it wasn't Daniel Bryan, because Batista winning instead of Daniel Bryan obviously being the most important thing. But for me, when I watch it, I think about that really weird 3-minute long WWE video, which was just close-ups of CM Punk's back and butt. It's weird.
I hate Nikki Cross. Mighty Molly was returning. I know we'd already had Molly Holly, but this was Mighty Molly returning to the Royal Rumble, and Nikki goddamn Cross came in and attacked her. And if you don't think this drove me insane, then watch this, which was us live watching it. Number 27, Molly Holly.
Oh no!
You bitch!
You! No, this is too far now!
What?
Right, I'm not happy about this. Superhero bullshit.
No!
No!
Stop it! You goddamn bitch! You ruined it! You stupid bird! You goddamn bitch! Ruined it!
So, a Royal Rumble moment that drove me absolutely insane. It was one that went down not that long ago, really. It was, 2 years ago now? The 2022 Royal Rumble. It took me a long time to establish it's been 2 years, because it feels like it was a lifetime ago, because it was so bananas, really, what happened. Well, we were watching one of the worst ever men's Royal Rumbles just ever in history, and there weren't many big surprises, there weren't many big awesome moments. Nobody really had an epic display, like an Iron Man display where you were like, wow, look at them, they've established themselves, they really made a name for themselves in this match. I didn't even remember, or I didn't know who half the people were when the theme music played, because everything just sounded so similar, it was boring. I just did not enjoy myself. And then it happened. Here comes the money. Here comes the money. Money, 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 money. Causing chaos. Causing chaos is what he did. He got into the ring, Shane O'Mac, and he started throwing shoot punches at people like Kevin Owens and Matt Riddle, an actual former MMA fighter, and just looking like he was legit, and it was ridiculous. It was one of the most ridiculous things you've ever seen. He targeted Drew McIntyre and he was like, I'm the real deal. Silly, just absolutely silly. It was like he was derailing everything. It was not the kind of surprise that I get particularly giddy about. Some people in the arena were happy to see him, I guess, which is great for them, good for them. They enjoyed themselves, but it was madness. And then apparently it was madness behind the scenes, because Shane was one of the producers apparently of the match, and just tore up the whole thing and just went mad and just trying to get himself over in the match. And that's its own thing, its own madness that drives everyone insane. So that's additional madness to the in-ring madness that we saw. And then when it came time for him to be eliminated from the match, Brock Lesnar was going to clothesline him, and it was going to go for a big lariat over the top rope. Shane couldn't get over. He was completely gassed at this point, so he went bright red and just went ugh, and stayed there for a second. And Brock just gets so angry, just venom coming out of his mouth. He runs back, just absolutely launches himself at him over the top rope. Shane goes, and eventually he does just drop to the floor like a sack of spuds. It was hard to watch, really, wasn't it? It was a bit embarrassing. It was just all the things that you don't want to associate with one of the best shows of the year. I love the Royal Rumble. I'm so excited I'm genuinely so excited and can't wait for this year's event. But Shane, even if your quads have healed from everything that happened at Mania, which, so bad, so bad. Please don't. Please just leave it alone. Leave it alone. Watch from the sides. Cheer on with everyone else. We don't need the money to come back around again. Nope.
I'd already given up
on WWE not being good, even though it never got good for quite some years after the fact, but I'd already long since given up on WWE being the promotion for me, or the promotion for those kinds of fans like me who made the most noise by 2014. But I thought there was a business case for Daniel Bryan being the number one, because what happened during the Super Cena years is that a lot of the older fans grew out of the Attitude Era product, and it made genuinely sound financial sense for Vince to go with Cena. There was this weird dichotomy within the fan base where the audience they should have chased, right, the children and the families, were drowned out by the people who stuck around when what was keeping us there? You know what I mean? We got told over and over again, go and buy your Ring of Honor DVDs. Like, you know what I mean? Go and watch Dragon Gates, that's really hip, go and do that. But we persisted, and we were maybe obnoxious at the time, right? But 2014, like 2013, Daniel Bryan was like a really universal babyface. He got sports entertainment better than virtually any kick pad wrestler ever. He was like really entertaining. He knew the comedy with Team Hell No. Like, he made Kane tolerable. You just thought, and he's got this babyface underdog fire, the likes of which WWE hadn't seen in years and years. And you thought maybe he could be the bridge between that divided fan base. And I thought, it's not just naive fantasy message board dreaming, like, oh, low-key, making headline WrestleMania. I've probably written that before, but that's naive idiocy. That wasn't. Daniel Bryan headlining WrestleMania wasn't. And then they just didn't even put him in the Rumble. It's like, oh, eh. And yeah, I knew what was going on. I'd read the message boards. I was on social media. Like, I knew Batista was coming back, but I just thought, he can't. Like, he just can't. Like, Daniel Bryan is the person, and obviously it all went well in the end, but that was just crystallized to me, like, you're not even doing things for your own benefit at this point. It's just pure antagonistic, what I say goes. And I remember watching it thinking, I know better to be annoyed by this. It's like when Murray's a prick in the office. Like, I know better than to listen to that idiot say the Beatles are bad. And then I suppress, shut the fuck!
This is difficult because I love the Royal Rumble. It's my favourite event, and I both love and hate this predicament. And I don't really want them to get rid of it because I think it's hilarious. Like, you can go back to Royal Rumbles from years and years ago, like when Hulk Hogan just pulled Sid out of the ring. Even though Hulk Hogan had been eliminated, the refs went, well, you know what, Sid, you did go over the top rope, so I'm sorry, but you're out as well. And that would be the equivalent if we're tied into soccer or football over here in the UK. We have the FA Cup, right, which is a single elimination tournament. And let's say Arsenal, my team, they get knocked out, and in the final it's Man City versus Chelsea, and Arsenal just walk on the pitch. They're like, yeah, well, we're going to score a bunch of goals. The ref goes, well, there's nothing we can do. I'm sorry, Man City. They did put it into your net, so now you have to lose. Now, that's absolutely ridiculous, and I'm amazed we keep doing it. But the one that actually irks me, because I kind of feel like we've taken it too literally, and now we're almost trying to second guess the audience, is that both feet have to land on the floor. It's been played out now. Like, Kofi Kingston did some amazing things over the years, but the last 2 years, it hasn't really gone very well. Somebody else did it and they made a mistake. And there's nothing wrong with making a mistake, but I just think when we are putting the Royal Rumble all together, now you actually have people sat in the back going, well, who's going to do that spot? Who's going to do that spot? Well, nobody needs to do that spot. And ultimately, if you get thrown over the top rope and your back hits the floor, and your Tootsie Toes and the soles of your feet are going up in the air towards the moon, it still counts as an elimination. Now, I understand it goes back to when Shawn Michaels did it, right, and one of his feet did touch the floor, but oh my gosh, but that should be the exception and not the rule, whereas now, every year, we just smash it over your head, someone's going to do this, so I would just move across from it, and now, let's just say, unless you have a specific spot planned, let's just say, again, if your ass gets thrown over the top rope and you hit any part of the floor, you're out, you're done. We didn't get to the point where people were landing on chairs and people land in people's arms. Look, it makes me laugh. And it's one of those things that I do enjoy about pro wrestling. But it's just an idea that's run its course. I'm repeating myself now, but that's all it is. I don't necessarily think it took anything away from a Royal Rumble in the past, but now just stop doing it, because it is. You can only have one dumb thing in the Rumble, right? And I'd rather you've been eliminated, but you're still active. So good. So when Mil Marascas just threw himself out the Rumble, that shouldn't be allowed either. You shouldn't be allowed. The Macho Man did it too. You shouldn't be allowed to eliminate yourself in the Royal Rumble. There should be a rule that external forces. This is why it's the best event. You will never find anything like it in any other sport or any other life event across the world, and that's why maybe I'm wrong, and it just has to stay as it is. But honestly, if I had to get rid of WrestleMania or the Royal Rumble, just as a random comparison, I'd get rid of WrestleMania. Like, WrestleMania is great and it's over the top and it feels like a spectacle, but it ain't no Royal Rumble, man, because the Royal Rumble is equal parts genius.
All right, let's go on a little contextual journey first of all. 2014, all the problems with that Royal Rumble and Daniel Bryan. But you know, Rey Mysterio number 30, Batista, blah, 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 right? As Michael Sidgwick has already articulated. You get to WrestleMania, Daniel Bryan has his big night. Okay, whatever, we had that crap night at the Rumble, but Bryan's the champion now. Oh yeah, that lasted 2 months because he had a neck injury and he had to vacate the belts, which the Authority did in character. But it's okay, 6 months later, the Royal Rumble's coming up, it's 2015 now. Bryan's definitely in this one, and he's definitely going to win. No problem whatsoever. So I can't remember at what point he comes out in the match. It's 6 or 7, something like that. You know, it's nearing the midway point. He comes in, and it's great. Here we go. 2014 is not going to happen again. Not a chance in hell. Bryan Danielson is on his ass within 10 minutes. Okay, what do we do now? Well, you look around the ring, there's all kinds of other options there. There's so many wrestlers of the archetype of, hey, they've never really been the true top guy in WWE, but it'd be really cool if they were. I'd love to see that as a fan, and hey, it's the Rumble, so it could happen. Bray Wyatt, he was one of them, until he was thrown out of the ring. Dolph Ziggler, for like a decade up to that point, he was one of them. Dean Ambrose, another one, exact same Ryback, right? Maybe not that one to the same degree. What was the common thread between all three of those gentlemen as they were unceremoniously dumped out of the ring by two guys, one of whom couldn't even be bothered to wear his ring gear, a couple of geezers who were gassed on their way to the ring, such was their condition at this stage in their career. Thrown out by Big Show and Kane, of all people, in the most joyless, unceremonious, pointless massacre of fan favourites in a 2-minute period to near complete silence in the arena. Also, Roman Reigns, at the height of his terrible babyface run, where nobody wanted to see the guy in any kind of spotlight, could win the Royal Rumble. They even did a little tease with Rusev at the end, who's supposed to be a foreign monster heel, and they cheered him when they thought he could throw Roman out of the ring. It's, for me, the most miserable personal Royal Rumble moment in history. I stayed up for this show after typically watching them the day after. I was late for work the next day as a result of this, and I've never felt more ashamed of myself.
I love the Royal Rumble. It's my favourite event of the year, bar none when it comes to professional wrestling, but there have been a couple of moments where it's like, oh, come on, such as how CM Punk was eliminated in 2014, how Daniel Bryan was eliminated the following year, how Chris Jericho was kicked off by Sheamus in 2012, how Bret Hart was screwed by Stone Cold Steve Austin in 1997. But the one I'm going to go with here is Davey Boy Smith, 1995. I love Davey Boy. I love the Bulldog, one of my childhood heroes. In fact, there we go. Here he is. Come and say hello. Point being, I love the British Bulldog. What a talent. And he was just a total idiot in 1995. And little me, young me, was left just like, oh, come on, man. And of course, this was the Royal Rumble where number 1 was Shawn Michaels. Number 2 was the British Bulldog. And the final 2 men in the match were Shawn Michaels and the British Bulldog. Now, I think it was Lex Luger and Crush were the other two, the final 4. So it came down to Bulldog and Shawn. Bulldog knocks Shawn over the top, and then he turns around, he turns away and starts celebrating without actually paying attention to Shawn having, he'd gone over the top, but that was where 1 foot landed on the floor. He'd skinned the cat, and it just made Davey Boy look like a total idiot because you would pay attention. You would check that guy has gone over the top. You would check that he has landed on the floor and that he's done. And yes, but no, instead, Davey Boy turns around, goes and celebrates one of the turnbuckles. Shawn skins the cat, comes in, and then pushes him out and wins the Royal Rumble to go on to WrestleMania 11, where he challenged Diesel for the world title. And it's just like, oh, come on, man. And making it even worse, the crowd, nobody cheers when Davey Boy wins because the crowd, most of them anyway, at least that one side of the arena, can all see that Shawn's not actually been eliminated. So Bulldogs celebrate him. You can hear the crowd kind of pointing out like, look, this dude has not been eliminated. He's still in the match. And just Davey Boy's off oblivious, celebrating in the corner. Now, to be fair, they do hit his music, so you could say that maybe he didn't hear the crowd or whatever, or maybe he was distracted by the music, but it just... man. It was, as a young fan, and it was so like, oh... Now I know that Davey Boy looked like a bit of an idiot at several points during his WWF run, but it was just, yeah. And so since then as well, any subsequent skin in the cat bits, just no. If somebody's skinning the cat, I'd like to see them get kicked in the face and fall out the ring. So there we go. Yeah, 1995 for me. Still bothers me to this very day.